So as One Piece fans, did you guys ever notice since Whole Cake Island, Blackbeard has been on the move from his reaction to Monkey D. Luffy being the 5th Emperor and him saying, yeah, Straw Hat, you're not ready for that Yonko title, to Shanks talking to the Gorosei about a certain pirate, wink wink, and of course, remember Imsama having 2 pirates bounty posters cut up, Monkey D. Luffy, who we now know is Joy Boy, Nika, and of course, Marshall D. Teach. Definitely want to say very, very spooky. We also know that in a sense his reaction to the Reverie battle of Sabo and the Revolutionaries versus the 2 admirals in Greenbow and Fujitora, also his reaction to Kaido and Big Mom pulling up to Wano and Straw Hat being on Wano was crazy when he was telling Gecko Moria that he didn't want the Marines to gain from the situation the warlords being abolished, because we found out in chapter 1059 Boa Hancock's Stealth ability is what he's been aiming for a very long time, and very understandable. She's able to one-shot a Yonko if he let go of her. She'll be able to one-shot Blackbeard if he let go of her, which is insane to me personally. Also, you have to understand this, the fact that he was tripping about the Lunarian, the brown skin, white hair, black wings during the whole Amalili raid, and of course seeing Rayleigh and Rayleigh saying, oh, Whitebeard's apprentice, I gotta be honest with you, I don't really like you, and Blackbeard just like his expression is so shook knowing that's the Pirate King's vice captain, and his reputation is what saved Rayleigh. Rayleigh even said that he cannot take on Blackbeard in a fight 1v1 right now, but of course his reputation is what saved him. And of course, Blackbeard has an admiral in Kuzan, well, former admiral in Kuzan. Let's be honest here, that's the strongest Blackbeard pirate. Aokiji pretty much destroyed Cracker. Look how long it took Luffy to fight Cracker when he first ran into him in Whole Cake Island. Aokiji destroyed him relatively easy, went into Whole Cake Island, grabbed Pudding, who can also read the Poneglyph, so that's a very, very big plot line. And where we saw it in the Law versus Blackbeard fight, his OG crew members in Von Augur, Doc Q, and Jesus Burgess are all getting very, very powerful with these new Delphoid abilities they obtained. Blackbeard said he thought it was going to be Kid, or Straw Hat, or you when it comes to leaving Wano and running into these guys. So Blackbeard wanted the smoke of one of the 3 billion berry captains. That's insane. And honestly, Law's pretty much, it's a worst generation clash. He wants Law's world poneglyphs, and Law's like, yeah, winner takes all. And even Von Augur's like, yo, Blackbeard, captain, yo, should we get out of here? And he's like, no. We finish what we start. Because Blackbeard, I noticed that about him. He's never ran away from a fight while he's in the middle of a fight. He only chooses not to fight. We've seen that with Akainu. We've seen that with Shanks. But in the midst of fighting Sengoku, he didn't say, let's get out of here. He said, let's continue fighting. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've noticed that from Blackbeard. He doesn't run away from fights in the middle of it. He only chooses not to fight when he feels like it's not advantageous. Now, I do also want to say this. We also see Pudding talking crazy about Big Mom, and they're like, nah, Big Mom's killer, we're fighting him right now. And it's crazy because the cover story we see Aokiji and of course Von Augur with Pudding. So it's crazy to see the confirmation of Aokiji be a Blackbeard pirate. Also seeing the crazy unique situation of the cover story overlapping the main story. And then finally, recently we saw Garp is going to fight Blackbeard, the Yonko. Even Vice Admiral Dahl's like, you're crazy. And of course, save Kobe, who's been kidnapped by Blackbeard from Amazon Lily. So the final saga hype is real. And of course, I want to tell you guys, all LegendMac fans who loved my power scaling videos, yes, I stopped making power scaling videos on this channel, but I do it on another channel called Dripco. It's gonna be like a One Piece library when it comes to power scaling. So just go check out that new video, Gear 5th video I dropped yesterday. It's a really, really good video, really edited well too, guys. Took a lot of time on it, so of course I would appreciate if you guys check that video out. Of course, after watching this video. Now, the interesting thing about Marshall D. Teach is we learn a lot about him during the, of course, Kozuki Yoden flashback. We see how he first joined Whitebeard's crew. He was an orphan begging Whitebeard to join, and Whitebeard's telling him, this ain't a fisherman, yo, this is pirates, dude. Do you know what you're getting into? And he's just crying to Whitebeard to join. It was a very spooky situation because that orphan would later be the man who would actually be the final person to put the nail in the coffin in Whitebeard's life. Whitebeard, like, this is insane how an orphan really did this craziness years later. Of course, during the Roger versus Whitebeard pirate battle, we found out during the ceasefire, Blackbeard wasn't sleeping days and days, and he actually never sleeps. That's what we get from Buggy. Of course, Shanks is thinking, yes, he gets to live double the life of a regular human. That's so hype. And Buggy's like, nah, bro, this guy's a monster. Just showing you how different Blackbeard is from everybody else, yo. He is the definition of different. And I always talk about people being built different. Blackbeard is not figuratively, he's literally built different. I felt that really big during Jaya, when a lot of people like to talk about Jaya and Blackbeard and Luffy in the bar, or Blackbeard and Luffy when it comes to the man's dream never dies, or Blackbeard even Luffy when it comes to Blackbeard just chasing after Luffy before the knockup stream. But the moment I think we all have to talk about is when Luffy, Blackbeard does a speech, and then Nami's like, yo, let's ask that guy about Skype and all that, and Luffy just replies, that's not one guy. And then Zoro even says, it's more than one, I think. So of course Luffy's more confident that it's not one guy, but Zoro also knows it's not one person. It makes me think, how did Luffy know? And Luffy never touches on that topic ever again. Even Nami kept on asking, what do you guys mean? What do you guys mean? And they never answered it. I think this panel is probably one of the most important panels in the One Piece story. There's been a lot of panels when it comes to 1072 and beyond when it comes to chapters that have come out. So honestly, very, very spooky. Of course, we even later see red hair Shanks, the Yonko, goes all the way to Whitebeard. First he sends Rockstar, but then he goes all the way to Whitebeard and tells Whitebeard, leave Blackbeard alone. Of course, Whitebeard just laughs in this guy's face and says, you're 100 years too early to tell me what to do, and tells him how justice got to be served. And while Whitebeard just going on his rant about Matij and how he did something crazy about killing his own crew members or Nakama, Shanks just looks pissed off. Like, he just looks mad that Whitebeard's laughing at him and not taking him serious, yo. So definitely a very key moment. The fact that Shanks went all the way to another Yonko to say leave Blackbeard alone shows you how even Shanks knows this guy is built different, not in a good way. Like, he knows Luffy's built different because he said the same things as Roger. Blackbeard is a different way built different. It's a negative. Another moment I felt this was when Jinbei said he's always been mysterious, even when he was on Whitebeard's ship. So even when Marshall D. Teach was a Whitebeard pirate and a part of the crew, the Yonko crew, and Jinbei of course was really close to that crew, he was still always mysterious. It makes me think about that moment where Blackbeard and Ace were talking, and Ace is like, Blackbeard, you've been here longer, why don't you become the second division leader? And Blackbeard's like, nah, I don't got that motivation. Yeah, obviously we found out he's trying to be the Pirate King. He doesn't give a crap about being a division commander. Insane. And just how Luffy and Zoro read Blackbeard and Jaya, and how he's not one person, or it's not just one guy, whatever that means. Uno reversal card, we see that Blackbeard reads Luffy's haki after taking a punch from him, saying, your haki got stronger than before. Now this is interesting, guys, because Blackbeard is a guy who was not really well known for haki pre-time skip. It's like post time skip we're seeing a little bit more haki from Blackbeard, but he's a Del Fruit monster. He's not really a haki specialist, but he scarred the strongest haki user that's alive right now in red hair Shanks. So it makes people think, how good is his haki? The fact that he's able to tell Luffy's haki in Jaya, which we didn't even know he had haki in Jaya, to Luffy's haki in Impel Down, of course, where of course in Impel Down Luffy has used haki a couple times, I think in Amazon Lily, of course, and I believe in Sabaody, but still makes me really think. And one of my favorite moments is when Luffy says, I'm definitely going to save Ace. And Blackbeard says, this is unique for a villain. He doesn't say, oh, laughs at him, or you can't do that, you're not capable of doing that. He just says, well, it's not impossible to save Ace. And then talks about how Skypiea exists. And then talks about how One Piece is the same. And Luffy, of course, is just staring back at this guy, because even Luffy's looking at this guy like, this guy, what is he on? And I truly believe Luffy being the Nika, of course the Mythical Zoan Nika at that time in Upple Down, that's not awakened. I believe Blackbeard maybe has a Mythical Zoan that's also from the voice entry, just like Luffy, that's been lost in history. Maybe the Gorosei is also trying to chase this Mythical Zoan. I'm going to explain this more in this video. In Marine 4, when Blackbeard steals Whitebeard's Delphi ability, Marco the Phoenix says, you have to understand, Marco knows Blackbeard really well, because Marco was there when Blackbeard joined the crew all the way to when Blackbeard left. So he knows Blackbeard to a T, and he says, Teach's, everyone, you guys should all know that Teach's body is different. Like, he even tells his other crew members, you guys should all know this, it's not like rocket science, that he's not a normal human. Now, me personally, if Teach's body is different, but he wasn't a Delphi user, like his Yami Yami no Mi was the first Delphi he got. Of course, the Gorosei talked about he's the first man to have 2 Delphs in the history of course, the world. But now I'm thinking, why was he not a normal human being? The fact that the Gomu Gomu no Mi awakened to be the Nika fruit could Blackbeard have a different body and we find out later that's awakened to be an actual mythical Zoan? That's the reason why he has not 1, not 2, not 3. Okay, I'm not going to go LeBron James with the Dullford abilities, but it looks like I'm thinking Blackbeard with the 3 heads on his Jolly Roger. 3 Dullford abilities? Shanks even says Blackbeard scarred him and he wasn't reckless, he wasn't careless. Watch out, he will take your position, Whitebeard. He's talking to the world's strongest man, saying that Blackbeard will take his position soon. And of course, it always makes me think, because he says not just take your position, he will take Whitebeard's position with his own will. This is the man with the most willpower in Shanks. This hockey is insane, saying that he will take your position with his own will. And remember what the Gorosei said, Zoans have their own will when it comes to the Zoan Nika evading the Gorosei all this time. And also, Red Hair Shanks is the one who had the Nika Dullford, the Hito no Mi Mythical Zoan Nika, model type Nika. Shanks is the one that had it from Who's Who. So I'm thinking the same way Shanks was hyped and happy about Luffy eating that Dullford, well, not really happy, but more so in a sense, the same way Shanks looks at Luffy as like a positive, I think Blackbeard might have a Mythical Zoan that's also been lost in time. Don't forget, Whitebeard is not ignorant to the will of D. During the death of the great pirate Edward Newgate, otherwise known as Whitebeard, Roger told him, as Whitebeard mentioned Marshall D. Teach being on his crew and asking about what the Will of D was, Roger told him what the Will of D was, and Roger said, after that, Whitebeard goes to present time and says, Roger's not waiting for you, Teach. Of course, saying that Teach is not Joy Boy, because that's what we all know Roger's waiting for, as he laughed at Joy Boy's treasure. And it made me think, who was Joy Boy's opposition that was also a part of the Will of D? Because we noticed there's some Will of D that are not necessarily teaming up with Roger. Look at, of course, Roxy Zebek, who went against Roger. Look at Marshall D. Teach, who's going against Luffy. So who's the opposition to Joy Boy that probably has the same initial D and connected that story in the Void Century? Now, I do want to say this. Maybe he had Blackbeard's Mythical Zoan Dullford ability. Whitebeard says also he ran into some D's along his time as a pirate. Of course, he's talking about his former captain, Rocks D. Zebek, and of course, Roger's greatest rival. Also, the one thing I want to point out, you ever notice that in Whitebeard's flashback to his younger days, when he gets laughed at for wanting a family, and then we go to present time and Teach is laughing his signature laugh, Z ha 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 ha. And honestly, as he said, he left a huge fool behind to his crew members. It makes me think about Rocks and Teach and how maybe that person in his flashback is Roxy Zebek laughing at him when it comes to his family, and then Teach is laughing at him when it comes to him dying because of his family. Just how Luffy and Roger shared the same dream. Whitebeard met probably the 4 most important characters or 4 most important men in the One Piece stories since the Void Century, and Luffy and Teach and Roger and Zebek, all being Will of D members with different last names, as you can notice Monkey D, Gold D, Rocks D, and Marshall D. The last names are all different, who all have ancestors that tie back to the Void Century, which will probably be revealed in the flashback. They're probably the greatest flashback in One Piece history. I'll never forget the moment where Kaido pretty much says, F Dullford abilities. Well, he didn't really say it in that verbatim, but he says how Roger did it with hockey. He was hyping up Roger's hockey and saying that he had no Dullford ability. And of course, his captain Rocks was the first, of course, the man who led Whitebeard, Big Mom, Shiki, Kaido, Wang Ji, of course, Captain John, Silver Axe, all these legendary characters, Miss Balkings. I'm trying to think, maybe Rocks also didn't have a Dullford ability. Maybe that's why he was Roger's greatest rival. The fact that they were just hockey experts, this disgusting mastery of hockey ability. And maybe the reason why they didn't have Dullford abilities is because Luffy and Teach have the Dullford abilities that those guys should have had. Roger made it to Laugh-Tale, and of course found the One Piece. Roger was just too early. Maybe Rocks was just too early. If they were a little bit later in time, they couldn't eat these mythical Zoans and did what they were supposed to do when it comes to the Void Century, and of course inherit the will of these Zoans like the Gorosei talked about. And that's one of my crazy speculations when it comes to these 4 characters. And the final thing I want to say is it's not a coincidence that the man who teamed up with Roger to take out Rocks is going to fight Blackbeard now. This is the perfect time, guys, to really reveal Blackbeard's mythical Zoan and really reveal who Blackbeard is right before he fights Shanks. Garp, you reveal it. Shanks, you expand on it. I think this is perfect for each other to do, and that's why I titled this video, in a sense, you guys all see the title, When 2 Devil Fruits Isn't Enough, because this 3rd Devil Fruit is really gonna put some respect on Blackbeard's name. I've heard rumblings of Blackbeard having advanced Conqueror's Haki in the Law fight, which I personally believe, but of course you need, how to say it, a lot more confirmation from people. So honestly, Blackbeard is one of those characters where people don't really think he's that strong, so that's why I say when 2 Devil Fruits isn't enough. Even Rayleigh saying that I can't beat Blackbeard, people didn't really respect that. So I want Blackbeard to really showcase this mythical Zoan that's on the same level as Joy Boys and really make people respect Marshall D. Teague, Blackbeard's name. That's my thoughts. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. I love Blackbeard as a character, and I think it's going to be really hype for the final saga. Like and share if you enjoyed. Like and share only if you enjoyed. And subscribe for more One Piece content. I'm the LegendMac, and I'm gone.